Hi everyone, Cloudy Whales, and as you can see, I'm grinding some more Blood Wolves. I've been grinding Blood Wolves for the last couple of weeks, I guess. Trying to get that infinite potion piece. I think I'm about halfway on the pity pieces now, but yeah, still grinding Blood Wolves. And right now, because of the holidays, and at least where I'm at, the weather is completely terrible outside. It's like negative, like 40-degree wind chill, and I'm staying inside. So for the holidays, just getting a bit of extra grind time in, and for all of you guys out there who are also in the same boat with inclement weather, hope you are staying warm, staying out of the cold, and hopefully you guys are having a great holiday season so far. But anyways, today I just wanted to talk about kind of an interesting quote from a book I read quite a while ago. I think like earlier in the year, maybe around like May. The book was Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a pretty popular book. I would say like most people who like self-improvement have heard of the book before, but anyways, there's like a really interesting quote in that book that kind of really stuck with me. And James Clear says that every action that you take is a vote for the person you wish to become. So essentially what he means by that, obviously in his context, it I think was more related to habits because the entire book was, Atomic Habits is based around habits and stuff like that. But the the quote really rings true, at least for me, and the idea that I kind of want to get across is that everybody needs to do things that are hard or things that are challenging, right? So generally speaking, most people are looking for some source of happiness in their life, right? Whether that's a relationship with like a significant other, or like a new video game, or maybe they play Black Desert and getting that upgrade will be uh, a dopamine rush for them, and then they'll feel a sense of happiness and accomplishment and importance and whatever else. But um, all of these feelings are, usually why people play video games in the first place. They're kind of chasing some sort of excitement, or chasing a feeling of being important or being a part of something like a community. It's usually one, if not a mix of all of those things. And obviously, there are more, probably an infinite reasons as to why somebody would play a video game, but I think those are the main ones that most people can associate with. And a lot of these feelings can obviously be found in the real life, but I think people use video games a little bit more than just a supplement to feel those emotions or to chase excitement. And that's kind of the idea of what I wanted to talk about today. And obviously, there's no right or wrong way to really go about life and video games and stuff like that. It's, to each their own. But most people, when they say they're looking for something that makes them happy, what they're truly looking for is something that's exciting. So if you think back to probably the last time you felt genuine happiness, it was probably when you were doing something that was very exciting. And that could be, playing video games, or, talking to somebody, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. Um, Tires banking. Um, the feeling of excitement is generally where people find happiness. And a lot of the times in life, the things that are exciting are generally things that are uncomfortable. They could be challenging. They could be just like difficult, hard to do things. Um, that are, you know, kind of a test of your ability. And a lot of the times you can find happiness in those things. But because they're hard and they are uncomfortable, a lot of people tend to either shy away from those things or give up whenever they start to try and do those things. So for instance, maybe you're somebody who's like wanting to start going to the gym and get fit. And maybe that's like a New Year's resolution of yours, or just like a goal you have. And you think that, oh, like if I go to the gym and I get fit, you know, that's really exciting. That would make me happy. But you go to the gym one time and you get a gym membership, you show up and you realize like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, because you're like a newcomer and, you know, all this stuff is new. And you look around, you're like looking at everyone else and they all look like they know what they're doing. And like a bunch of people who are in those gyms have been either like lifting weights or just going to the gym for like years. And you don't want to look like an idiot. And so it's very uncomfortable starting out. And it can be very embarrassing. And it's super easy to convince yourself that, oh, you know, I'm not the type of person who goes to the gym, or like, you know, I don't belong inside of that kind of environment. And when you give yourself that excuse to stop yourself from doing something that you think will bring you some sort of excitement or happiness, then you're essentially taking a vote with your actions to become the type of person who won't go to the gym. And it's essentially just taking the easier route, because it's much easier to just say, oh, you know, like the gym isn't for me, and just forget about it, than it is to go through something that is pretty uncomfortable and hard and, you know, potentially embarrassing, and sticking with that. It's so much easier to just give up. And the idea is that you feed that limitation, that self-limiting belief, and you feed yourself the identity of being somebody who, you know, doesn't belong in a gym. And it makes it infinitely harder to accomplish, you know, something that might actually be what you're missing in terms of your life right now, or like something that is going to bring you a lot of excitement and joy. And you just rob yourself of the chance to experience that, or experience any sort of growth in that department, just simply because you decided to feed that self-limiting belief that like, oh, you know, that's not me, even though maybe deep down that's something you truly want. And so I just want you to think about, you know, who, like what kind of person do you want to be? Like, do you want to be seen as somebody who is unreliable and gives up easily? Whenever things get tough, they are flaky and nowhere to be found? Or would you rather be seen as somebody who's like strong and honest and reliable and like trustworthy, and people can rely on you because they know when things get tough, like you'll still be around? And there are so many different arguments that I hear from a lot of people, especially when it comes to doing things that are hard. For instance, like people are saying like, oh, you know, these people have way more talent for physical activity or like lifting weights than I ever had. And I just want to say that that's simply not true, because talent is extremely limited on its own, and everyone starts off as a beginner in some sense. Obviously, some people will come into it with like a background that gave them some sort of like predisposition to an activity. For instance, like, you know, if you were a wrestler in high school and then in your adult life you go and do jiu-jitsu, obviously you'll have some sort of experience to pull upon because you had done grappling kind of style sports already. And even though you're a beginner, you've got a leg up, and you might be more talented than somebody who started at the same time as you because of your wrestling background. But what happens when talent gets lazy and they aren't motivated by curiosity and progression, and eventually they stagnate and give up. And then the person who started off and they were really terrible, and 6 months to a year down the line, they've improved infinitely more than the person who began with some sort of predisposition or like talent for that activity. And it's just not a good excuse. And I think by kind of ignoring the things that are uncomfortable and hard, just because that they're uncomfortable and hard, you're just robbing yourself of the opportunity and the chance to grow and experience on things that might actually be, great additions to your lifestyle. And if you guys remember nothing else from this video, I just want you guys to take kind of an extra look at that quote, and try and internalize that. Maybe think about what something like that might mean to you. Think about the kind of person you would want to become and the kind of person that you want to be seen or remembered as. And I do implore you guys, if you like reading, check out that book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a really good book. But aside from that, have happy holidays, stay warm. I hope you guys are doing okay with the inclement weather, especially if you guys are in the Midwest like I am. Aside from that, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.